Hello and welcome to the core connection introduction video. This video is really important to me just because I see so many people doing their core connection wrong, and they're actually making their exercise less effective, hurting their bodies, or even exacerbating issues that they already have with their pelvic floor. So today we're going to talk about how the pelvic floor and the core work together and how to engage them properly. So to start with a bit of education, imagine your torso like a canister, like a can of Coke holding pressure. At the top, you have your diaphragm, which is your major breathing muscle that goes down and up as you breathe. In the front and the sides wrapping around to your spine, you have your abdominal muscles, which come in a few different layers, from the top, six-pack muscles that we think of, all the way to the bottom, transverse abdominis, which is like a corset that wraps around your body. You have the spinal muscles all the way at the back of your canister. And then down here at the bottom, you have your pelvic floor muscles, which are like a sling trampoline that manages the pressure of your organs and your breath. So all of these muscles and systems are supposed to work together to support you while you move and breathe and exert effort. Every time you breathe in, the pressure in your abdomen increases. If you're breathing while exerting effort, like lifting something heavy, carrying something, running, anything like that, the pressure increases because you tense up in order to stabilize your body. Okay? During pregnancy, these muscles, the abdominal muscles, get way stretched out, so they're not able to tighten up and manage pressure as effectively. In addition, your pelvic floor takes a lot of pressure during pregnancy as well. And if you have a vaginal birth, it really has to do a lot to get that baby out of your body. So when you're recovering postpartum, this part and this part of your canister are not functioning optimally. And often they're not even communicating particularly well. Ideally, without even having to think about it, your core and your pelvic floor should switch on together and switch off together as needed throughout the day for your movement. But if that's not happening, you're going to end up with a lot of soreness in the low back, a lot of feelings of kind of instability in the core and the pelvis, and maybe some feelings of pressure or pain in your pelvic floor. When I talk about core engagement, what I'll often see is a lot of instructors, even really well-meaning postpartum instructors, say, bring your belly button to your spine. And then what I see is people do this. Right? They suck in their belly button and they try to eliminate all the air from this to make your waist as small as possible. This is actually not particularly effective, and it makes it really hard to breathe. If you're moving and exercising, you need to be able to breathe. The other thing is cinching in right here at the belly button often puts a lot of pressure on the abdominal muscles that are below the belly button and on the pelvic floor. So it's actually doing the opposite of what we want it to do. Instead, I like to think of, on each exhale, when you're trying to engage your core, thinking of wrapping the waist in towards the belly button and up. So you can think of this as like a corseting, or you can think of this as like zipping up a jacket from the bottom up. Okay? That's how we keep from loading too much pressure down. So what that looks like is a big breath in. Imagine your entire rib cage filling up. On your exhale, wrap it in. Inhale, relax. Exhale, zip it up. Okay. You'll know if you're doing this right if you look in the mirror and you see your belly button tighten and lift up a little. Okay. So that's the difference between, see how my belly button got a little higher, or we'll use the zip up, versus just cinching in at the waist. No change at all. Okay. So that's the way you should be engaging your core during really any exercise postpartum, but especially if you're also wearing the weight of your baby, because your core is also managing all that extra weight. So you really want to be careful of how you're engaging. Another way to check that you're engaging the right muscles is to bring your fingers here along your underwear line. So this is right on either side of the pubic bone. You're going to take a big breath in and feel those muscles. Okay. Dig your fingers in just slightly and then cough. Do you feel the muscles that jump out underneath your fingers? Those are your transverse abdominals, and they're the muscles that work most closely with your pelvic floor for stabilization. Ideally, those should switch on whenever there's extra pressure, like coughing, laughing, sneezing, running, anything like that. But often they're a little bit sluggish after pregnancy and birth. So to practice engaging them, put your fingers back where they were, dig in a little, big breath in, and then try that zip up. So feel those muscles tighten. Now hold that and cough again. Do you feel how there's less movement? That's because those muscles are stabilizing and managing that pressure. So if you combine that with pelvic floor engagement, you're going to stabilize your entire body. Movement is going to feel better, and you're going to feel a lot stronger and have less pain. Now, let's talk quickly about the pelvic floor. A lot of us were taught to do Kegels, but weren't really necessarily told how. And there's a lot more to engaging the pelvic floor than just Kegels. So I want you to envision a flaxseed at the opening of your urethra. That's where the urine comes out. A blueberry at the opening of your vagina or your perineum. If you don't have a vagina and you're doing this video, you have a pelvic floor too. And then moving back, a marble at the opening of your anus. Okay. Big breath in, soften everything. And on your exhale, lift that flaxseed up, blueberry up, and marble. Okay. On your inhale, release the marble, release the blueberry, release the flaxseed. Okay. We'll do that one more time slow, and then we'll do it all together. So inhale, exhale, lift the flaxseed, blueberry, marble, and release the marble, blueberry, flaxseed. We're going to do that a couple more times all together now. So instead of doing step by step, we're just going to lift and release everything. So inhale, exhale, lift it all up. Inhale, exhale. Last one. Inhale, exhale. Hold here. Try and keep it lifted for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly let go. So if you found any of that challenging, that's okay. Sometimes certain parts of the pelvic floor are stronger than others. And sometimes it just takes our brain a little bit of practice paying attention to that area again, especially if you've given birth recently, if you have any kind of birth trauma or other trauma that happened in the pelvic region. Sometimes it just takes practice. So be consistent, practice this a little bit every day, and make sure you're fully relaxing your pelvic floor when you're done. It's just as important for the pelvic floor to be relaxed as it is for it to be strong enough to tighten up when needed. Okay, so let's finally, before we finish, just practice combining those two things. So core connection and the pelvic floor. So big breath in. On your exhale, lift the pelvic floor and zip up the core. Inhale, release. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Hold here, lift everything, draw the core in for 5, 4, breathe, 3, 2, and 1. Give a little sway to the hips. This helps the pelvic floor relax from side to side. Do some pelvic circles here, help it relax from front to back. Okay. This was just an introduction to these concepts. But I hope that you find it helpful, and I hope that you practice this in your everyday life, not just when you're working out, but also when you're moving around, especially if you're wearing or carrying your baby and you have that extra load on your body. This is going to make you feel a lot better as you move throughout your day and will really help you to reduce any pelvic floor symptoms that you might be feeling. As always, check with your healthcare provider or a pelvic floor physio if you're experiencing symptoms that just aren't getting better or really affecting your quality of life. If you have any questions at all, please reach out to me at elise@mombodfitness.org. See you later.